Now I don't know how to turn it off. There we go. Hi, everybody. It's Marie from Forward Revolution, and welcome, as always, is a graceful entry into another episode of Clutching Our Pearls.
And I am Suzi Shattuck, and we are your hosts.
And ever so pleased to be with you. Usually we have our podcasts earlier in the day, and then we thought, you know what? Who the hell is watching in the middle of the day? Everybody wants to have a cocktail and listen to mouthy broads talk. So we're trying a new time at night. We hope you like it. For those of you that are listening via podcast, listen whenever you want and drink copiously when you do.
I did not make a cocktail to prepare for today. Next time.
One shake, return. I got this. This is a podcast for the revolution. And we are a company that was born from the chaos and the economic and domestic upheaval that was 2020. And now we're going into it again.
And still.
It sucks. I'm a single mom and an entrepreneur. And I watched all of the women around me lose 40 years of pay equality. And a tip of the hat today to Texas. Allow me to salute.
I can't even fucking, oh my God.
It's been a rough one. This pandemic, it tore families apart and businesses, and we've all seen it. And listen, you hear us toss the word revolution around a lot. A revolution happens when people unite to seize power from those who are in charge and those who have abused people's trust. The mission of Forward Revolution is simple. It's to burn this shit to the ground and rebuild something new and beautiful in an equitable way, to fight back against the female and diversity recession, and to empower parents and caregivers, because we are all taking care of somebody's ass, to take control of their lives and create sustainable ways of creating revenue and a life and fulfillment. So let's unite in revolution. Oh, by the way, we swear. In case you didn't know, lots of bad words.
There's going to be some fucking words said.
Yes. At least one or two.
Today, I'm so excited. I get to talk to Marie, not only one of my best friends in the world, but also an inspiration to me. So who the fuck is this woman? For more than 20 years, Marie revolutionized small business marketing and sales in the Chicagoland area and nationally with her no-nonsense approach to how work can be crafted to support the person and their family first. With sophisticated tech stacks, personal development, upskilling, and reskilling, her work in the virtual workspace has challenged and elevated traditional work models and is poised to change the way that work works. An advocate for women's and LGBTQ rights, childcare, and also caregiver options, Marie is an expert in diverse options as well as custom crafted solutions for families of every kind, and there are so many kinds. Her fervent belief is that if you give people money and choices, they have power. They don't need anyone to empower them because power is their human right. So thanks for letting me grill you today, Marie.
Baby doll, you can grill me anytime.
Before we get into it, I'm going to congratulate you and embarrass you a little bit on two things real quick. It is At Revenue's 5th anniversary. And I remember when you started it, and congratulations, you have been kicking all the ass and taking care of asses and moving on from the asses.
In all directions, but that's kind of how I roll.
Yeah. And you were just featured in the article Top 20 Entrepreneurs on the Rise in 2021 with a sweet picture of you on it, looking great at a podium. How do you feel about this moment in time for you?
I am honestly, sometimes I'm trying to find it because I'm so focused on where I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
the work I have to do, and the folks that don't yet know that they have choices, that it's almost, I don't want to say manic because then people call professionals, but like it is a absolute burning desire that does not let me stop in my tracks for very long.
Hmm.
So I love celebrating that, 5 years ago, Jim and I gave birth to this beautiful baby of a business that has sometimes been a weight and sometimes been a steady in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that I got to start it with him. And then I got to make it sensationally mine.
Cheers to Jim, right?
Cheers to Jim. But this is our moment.
Yeah. And so a lot of people would shy away from exposure like this, and you don't. How do you leverage all of this momentum to feed the revolution or into the revolution?
Well, this is something that I think you know a bit about, but when the world has given you jack shit options,
Mm-hmm.
it almost steals you for whatever is going to come. And though I would never have picked there was no other path. And I'm so glad that I've found incredible women and men from every walk of life that have stood up and said, this is no longer acceptable. It shouldn't have been acceptable in the first place. But Jesus Christ, are you kidding me at this point?
Well, you're like one of those people who sees the script and goes, nope, rips it up, burns it, pulls out a pen. I mean, that's what I've seen you do for 15 years or whatever math is right. So,
Yeah.
just a quick housekeeping. I've organized my questions into a past, present, future format. We're going
Because
to learn.
you've been with me for all of it.
Oh, you're my girl, right?
Yes. All the fun, all the business, and all the drag queens.
Oh, so many drag queens. So, we're going to learn where this started, how it is now, and we're going to wrap it up with your vision to the future. I love a good origin story. In Greek mythology, the goddess Athena was born as an adult in full battle armor. She split open Zeus's head and emerged. And that's how I see the revolution. I see this idea springing full grown and ready to like haul off and kick ass from your head too. How did it start and who are you doing this for?
Oh my. So I think you were so I always know who my business girlfriends are. Because if you don't know who your business girlfriends are, when the really big stuff goes down, you don't know if you're crazy or on the right path or both. I'm not saying those things are separate.
Rarely.
And so there was a moment where I'm in this tiny basement apartment in Chicago. And of course still paying $1,400 a month with barely enough room for Lily and I. And had been homeschooling at that point. It was October. It seemed like it had been 6 years. And I'd been trying to jump through hoops for the Chicago public school system. And it was like you had to be on, be off, transfer, do this, do that. And I called my daughter's teacher and she was crying. And she said, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this. I cry until I turn the camera on every morning.
Oh my God. It's too much.
And it was like her second year teaching. And so I'm in this space where, now listen, I've been through some shit, right? Like I've walked up the mountain, down the mountain, rolled up and down it a couple of times, and then most likely tumbled ass over heels.
That's how you roll.
It is how I roll, unfortunately. And it, like, I think that with it being just me and Lily in Chicago, and granted, we had our mommy friends and they were great, but they were in different pods, right? When we were terrified, like we are now. And I was out of options. I didn't know what on earth I was going to do. And one of my entrepreneurial girlfriends, big love to Emily Lonegro. If you ever get to meet her or know her, just do whatever she says. It's worth it.
Noted.
She literally like reached in and she was like, Marie, you opened your first business at 22. Since when have you worried about living by somebody else's script and not making your own choices? And when I tell you, it hit my chest like a Mack truck of, oh my God, I have choices. I forgot. I don't have to do it the way they say. There's, okay, where are the choices? What do I do? Where do I, like, how do I bring these things in?
But you're used to doing that professionally. To have to do it as a mom, as an educator, as a business owner, as like everything at once.
I don't even think it was that. I think that we were in such survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you can't, right? All of your resources are pulled into here because you've got to protect this.
Right.
I couldn't see anymore. And so she gave me some great introductions to some folks that are still experts in the revolution right now. Tiana Kubik is unbelievable. Brian King has been with me forever. And I gotten myself into a place of isolation because I work all the time, because I love what I do, because I do awesome shit, that it was unhealthy and I didn't have a way out. And then I saw the feminine recession on TV. And at first I was mad at myself that I didn't know that this was happening. And then I realized that we had lost 40 years of pay equality. And it was only October at that point. It had only been 6 months. And when I tell you, I didn't realize it then, but it must have been a nervous breakdown. It must have been. Because I don't know if you remember, Suzi, but I called you and I was babbling. Like I saw the revolution, but to try to articulate all of the different value props and how I was going to be able to put it together and who I was going to be able to help. And I was going so fast in so many directions. I think my friend Lisa Mayo from Brooklyn was like, Marie, stop talking, go get a shot and a beer, come back out and sit down, and then I will speak to you again. Okay. And
you're too sober for this pandemic.
We all are. And that's really where the genesis was. And I think because I had to grieve Jim so publicly, I didn't have a choice but to grieve on brands. I learned to be very extrinsic when I was up against something I didn't understand. Because if I felt as if I was without resources, somebody else out there must feel that way too. And I'll be damned if somebody else is going to go through the same thing I'm going through and I don't find some way to help. Like it just, it's not in my nature. It makes me very uncomfortable.
And so, you're used to jumping off a cliff and knitting your own parachute on the way down. Not everybody has that experience, you know?
Yeah, it works out great a lot.
Yeah. So tell me, walk me through, January 2001. Let's get into this year until today. How have you seen the narrative change in that time?
Well, first of all, can we talk about how crazy it is that my unbelievable team was able to help me pull this off between October 20th and January 7th to build the entire infrastructure and the brand and all of the things to go with
Bonkers.
my crazy babble. And I remember trying to tell them, and I got to the point where I realized I was like, okay, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I need you to not respond to me for 24 hours. Because it literally took people that long to just kind of wrap their brain all the way around the different pieces.
Yeah.
And so when we launched on January 7th, I was all church camped up, man. I had a Jesus t-shirt. I was ready. My name is Marie. Are you saved? What are we doing here?
Oh,
Right?
Lord.
And I was talking to the VP of this bank and the CMO of this company and blah, 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 blah. And when I tell you over and over and over again, they told me, everybody's just going to want to go back to the way things were. And I was like, I don't think so.
So you doubted them.
I did. I didn't doubt them. I believed me.
It's
Because
different.
I was like, you know what? Listen, Paco, Karen is not going to want to come back and work for the first Todd that came by and took her job and made more money than her sitting in that seat.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's going to have to do his job and her job because you can't fire him because he hasn't done anything wrong.
Mm-mm.
But you could sure as shit get rid of her real quick, couldn't you? Like, no. No self-respecting woman I know who's done what she was told to do for the past 20 years is going to settle for that shit. And we just proved that we don't have to.
Right.
So I had this duplicitous weight of, there are so many women out there and diverse people that need to know that there is a tether, there is a lifeline, there is somebody out there that sees them and is going to fight for them and has a plan. And on the other side, it was, this has to be a plan that's big enough to change everything. Because I can't just change my space. If we're going to change the way that everything works, it's got to be able to change everything. Not everybody has to subscribe. You can get your own damn magazines. But the one I subscribe to says equity, equality, pay fairly, treat people like humans first. The other stuff will figure itself out.
But it's also all of that plus flexibility to be an entire damn human, not just a worker bot,
Yeah. I mean, we offer flexible work, 60 hours a week.
And
Enjoy
as
children scream at you.
we can't change them. We try.
Well, but I mean, think about it. You're a kid and you're seeing your parent right there, completely inaccessible. You're struggling through your stuff. You can see the stress. Kids aren't stupid. They pick up on it. We were all in a lose situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the secret that people seem to forget is that we were in that lose situation long before the pandemic put a spotlight on it.
We were already, like, all of those systems were already in place and we were already working in those systems. But then when a shitty system gets taxed, it breaks. I'm in California choking on smoke. Ask me about PG&E's infrastructure.
Are you a fan?
I am actually not.
Oh.
So you had your initial vision. I'm sorry. Right? So you had your initial vision and then you approached with that initial energy. What did you run into? I mean, you already said a little bit, but what have you learned and how did that position you to where we are now?
So let me tell you about some shit that went down.
Do it.
For the first time ever, the DEI had a budget before marketing did.
Wait,
In
really?
the beginning of 2021, in all of the major companies that I spoke to. And I was like, cool. You're not going to do anything with it. You're going to hire a chief operating or a chief people officer.
Mm-hmm.
And like Microsoft, not a damn thing has changed, except they have a very nice lady who is their chief people officer.
She sounds lovely.
Listen, we have no idea what she's up against in there, but it was just like after George Floyd when we watched the layers of placation just disintegrate. And you could see, like when you go through stressful times, you run out of fucks to give,
Mm-hmm.
and the scales fall off your eyes, and you're like, oh, now I see you. I see what you're doing. And if I stand by and do nothing, then it's my fault.
You're complicit. It's tacit consent. I've been using this phrase over and over again for a couple of years. It's like, oh, we're not doing change. We're putting on a play about change. It's like we're going to tweet out that we're going to fund our DEI and it's going to get all the likes and shares. But in a month, have we done it?
Right. Our business resource groups get $300 a year. For what? Sparklers? Like, what are you do? How?
Mm-hmm.
So I got into all of first of all, I've got the best business friends, heart friends in the world. People like Len Mayersky and even my partners at Sprout Social that just had patience with me and knew that I was on to something big, but didn't have a place for me. Because when you straddle DEI and women's groups and marketing, there's a lot of buckets to pull from, but there's also a lot of buy-in to get.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur because I don't give a shit about buy-in. And if my vision is big enough and if I am moved enough, I'm the one taking the risk. It's my butt on the line.
And that's not new for you.
No, I've always walked the razor's edge.
That sounds painful. Actually, I've seen your shoes. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So tell me about the revolutionaries. Tell me about the present now. Like, talk to me about the revolutionaries. Do you have any special moments you want to share? Anybody that you like, when you met them, you're like, oh, yep, this is for you. I didn't know you when I made this, but this is for you.
So I have this friend that, my God, I've known since I woke up nude next to her at a business conference when I was 25 and sat up drunk up my ass, bolt upright, and just screamed, "Who are you?"
I'm blushing. Or is this a hot flash?
One of my favorite moments, really, honestly, Suzi, was, and I'm not just buttering you up because I can do that crap later, but was hearing you say, I've got some time that I've got to invest well. I'm going to put myself on Fiverr. And I think I said, the fuck you will.
Mm-hmm.
I have a place for you. And there had to be, because you've been with me on some very wild adventures.
You said you're no Fiverr hoe.
I forgot about that. Can we?
You said you're no Fiverr hoe. Get your ass to the revolution. I'm like, yes, ma'am. I'm a different kind of hoe.
You are. And nods to all Fiverr hoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we had something that our souls were aligned to. And if we didn't do it together, we would be remiss.
But also, like with Fiverr, that's people solving their own problem without attacking the system. It's like, I need the flexibility. I want the billable work. I just want to do the shit and get paid. But that's not how you are. Because I was like, I've got 18 months from graduation to law school. What am I going to do? You know,
Start a revolution.
that'll do.
And so I have to say, it was incredible that I was standing in I think it was the Museum of Science and Industry, and I was by the wax area where the submarines are, where they're talking about women coming into the Army and into the Navy for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like literally standing around the posters, recruiting women to come work because now it's your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's your turn to put in. When the hell didn't we put in? Like, we just put in and didn't get credit for it.
Right.
We've been pink collared for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Give us the lower jobs to do, make sure that we can't come up and compete with the big boys.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier. And that's a lot of the reason I became an entrepreneur. I will never forget selling a used car crusher that I bought for $30,000 for $300,000, as is, where is, in under a week, and had to go in and fight for my 1% commission. Because even though I had just outsold the entire sales staff for the year, I was just a secretary.
I never heard that story before.
I used to be in used recycling equipment.
What? Oh my God.
And like to be able to create a path for diverse persons out of that shit show
Mm-hmm.
is one of the coolest things that I've ever gotten to do. And I think the other story that really comes to mind is, listen, if you've got a business, you've got turnover.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the great resignation.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a team member who came on into a role that she thought she would be great at, and it really wasn't suited to her. And she fought, but it was tearing her up inside. And I think she was scared to come to me because she didn't want to feel like she let me down. But when she finally did, and we were able to wrap her up and show her that all the things that we told her when she came into the revolution were exactly how we were going to behave, with
Mm-hmm.
love and lack of judgment and
Mm-hmm.
resources. And my God, I get it. Are you okay? It changed her perception of what work could be like.
It doesn't have to be so militaristic. It doesn't have to be you adapt to the company or you're thrown away. You know, it can be collaborative and creative.
That is the point. Whether they've worked for you for 20 years or they freelance for you for 5 weeks,
That's
they are
right.
not disposable.
While they're with you, you as the employer, it's your damn job to take care of them, to do what you can to make it right, to do right by them, you know? So that leads me, I'm sorry.
So I think my next tattoo has to be, if you're going to show up for my dream, I will show up for you every day.
Absolutely.
And if you're an employer and that is not where your soul is, find other work. Everybody's hiring right now.
So the rally cry of our revolutionaries, you know, it's our purpose statement. It's we, you know, for the revolutionaries, we're a diverse community of mid to upper level marketing and sales professionals who care deeply about, one, keeping your career skills growing, sharp, and relevant. Two, our lives balanced through flexible project work from dynamic clients, and 3, our potential nurtured through experienced mentors, allowing us to thrive as respected professionals on our terms because we aren't leaving our futures in the hands of others anymore. How are you doing this? How are we doing this?
So if you get to show up on your first day of work and say, I think for my life, 10 hours of work with clients that I know are going to be the most fun for me, doing exactly what I'm the most talented at, sounds like a good idea. And then I'd also like to learn how to do like 3 other things that are industry adjacent, and make sure that I've got a community and solidarity and access to health insurance, access to mental, social, emotional support. And if things change, I'll let you know. I might want to work more. I might want to work less. I might want to open my own business. Would you help me do that? No. Get your ass in the back and make copies, right? So
I see you have vision and drive. We can fix that.
it really is for us about, it is not our job to dictate what you want. If we give you enough choices and if we give you a chance to believe in us and trust us, you are going to unfurl in such beautiful ways. That's what I'm in it for. Because if you grow and make my business better, your own business, or somebody else's business better, then we've all won.
It's operating from trust and from abundance, not from, I got to get mine before you get yours and screw everybody behind us.
Yeah, that hasn't worked well for a long time.
Has it ever?
God bless Brene Brown. She's been out there hawking vulnerability like it is the newest thing on the menu, but women have intrinsically known how to be vulnerable together. I think it was when we were put into a place where we had to compete like men, especially in the legal world, that we started really trying to create a different kind of feminine work experience. Because I can remember when everybody had to have shoulder pads and, pantyhose that gave you that really nice one butt cheek that the fart had to use to try to work its way up out through the top. You know what I'm talking about.
Unicheek.
Everybody remembers that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess everybody of a certain age.
Yeah. Those of you that are youngins that want something fun to do, go to CVS and get legs. L''EGGS. Queen size.
And then put on some heels and get under a desk and pull some cable.
That sounds way dirtier than I think you intended it to be, but
it's my superpower.
Yes. But I think that, we were taught to fight against each other. Mm-hmm. We were taught that other was bad and that there was only so much space for each of us in this world. But there seems to be plenty of man-spreading space all over the place. Lily actually explains to Giuseppe what man-spreading was.
Oh my God, what did she say?
We're going to leave that for another podcast.
Okay. Man-spreading. Wait, we'll do the Clutching Our Pearls man-spreading episode.
Also known as please wear underwear.
Oh God.
Sweatpants.
So I'm going to try to get it back to on track. Is that okay?
Oh, okay, sure.
I mean, so we're doing this, like one of the things that has been absolutely critical to have this happen for our revolutionaries, we put on in our portal, we have events and we have classes so that we can all level up our skills. So tell me about the experts that we've collaborated with to make this happen.
Oh, holy crap. They're amazing. So, this cool thing happens when you let your light shine. The people that are like you and that are supposed to be drawn to you show up. And we have this incredible, incredible squad of experts that are donating their time, their resources, their brilliance to addressing the things that nobody else is addressing. Hey, you just got knocked out of a job after doing everything you were supposed to do, including graduating high school with honors and getting into the right college and then getting into the right company. But please go back to the kitchen. You're going to have some issues that finna come up that your partner may not be prepared for, that your children are gobsmacked by and usually less than willing to deal with. And I knew that I've been an entrepreneur long enough that I know that imposter syndrome is a really heavy thing. Loss of identity, loss of freedom, loss of choices, loss of partners, loss of family, loss of getting away from your children so that you can be alone just once a year.
I want to miss you.
But you won't go away. These are things that are so incredibly taxing, and they are not racially divided. They're not even really gender divided. It just happens that we seem to be the gender that was subscribed to deal with most of it. And snaps to the men that got out there and did what they could and like took over stuff and just were advocates. But they were really just parts of their own family, parts of the society that they decided to create. And yet, if you saw a man take 2 days off to take care of his sick kids, hero. If a woman took 2 days off to take care of her sick kids, distracted and a liability. It was all going to crack at some point. If we saw the crack and we decided to do nothing about it, then it's our fault. And it's not going to be our fault. The more revolutionaries we can bring in, excuse me, I think there was a fly in my wine. It's better. If you're going to be a revolutionary, come in and bang the drums and be mad and be vigilant and be loud and carry that message as far as you can, because you are not the only person that is in this boat. And if you think that you are so alone that nobody else can understand, you have not been around the right people.
Yeah. I want to make a parallel about what you said about how we can be the ones who change it. This ties into, white supremacy, where people say, oh, well, I didn't have a slave. I didn't enforce Jim Crow laws. I haven't this, I haven't that. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Our ancestors did. We benefited from it. We have advantages because of it. How about stop thinking about fault?
Right.
Like, it's not my fault. It doesn't matter if it's your fault. We are the generation here now. It is our responsibility. We're the ones here now. Let's be the generation who fucking chops it down, you know, and builds new institutions and new ways of being. And I see you do that, you know, in the employment realm. But it's like we should be taking a critical eye to all of our status quos, to all of our systems.
I'm going to start with this one though, because I'm a little tired already.
No, yeah. So, tell me about how would a business owner know that they can help the revolution? What do they get out of it?
So it depends on what kind of business owner you are. So if you are an owner of a company that let's say offers services that the revolutionaries could really use to grow themselves, companies like Fifth Third Bank
Mm,
that can be there to help them learn how to work on flexible incomes, help them get their accounts set up and change the way that the money flows for them, be there to fund them when they're ready to start their own businesses. We need you as sponsors. We need you as educators. We need you as advocates. Because as you help us carry the message out into the world, we are going to be the evangelists that know where your heart is. Because so often corporate tells you where their heart is and does the exact opposite.
show me.
And that's it.
I want to see your balance sheet.
You've said that to me before. It's still kind of hot.
I know you like it.
If you are an organization that is experiencing things like loss of talent, cash flow
Mhm.
fluctuation, trying to maintain diversity and culture, we can step in as that fractional arm and make sure that that job stays open until you are ready and stable enough to hire someone. And trust me, we're less expensive than an employee any day of the week. And you get an
Team.
entire marketing department and a sales VP there focused on your business. But you've got to step up and say, I'm not willing to let this job go to somebody who's not from a diverse background. We can
And
not only maintain that diversity, but when you are ready to hire, my God, we've got this cadre of badass, diverse people that know your brand, are easier to onboard, are going to stay longer because they already knew what was going on. Nobody's surprised. And you've been able to maintain diversity through the biggest diversity recession we've ever seen. And one of our partners told me a really interesting story, and she said, everybody right now wants to work remote, and we get it. We do. Except for the men over 60, because they've always gone to the office. And so they're always going to go to the office. And so when there's meetings, they are the only ones in the office. Maybe they're via Zoom, but you are not in the room. Oh, it's going to be a challenge. And we don't expect everybody to belly up to the table. Like, if you do, I don't want to be in a boardroom.
Mm-mm.
I don't want to be in a nonprofit boardroom. I would rather just give you money and then leave. Because I like to do things quickly. I like to make impact on my terms. And I'm not going to wait for a board consensus. There are so many more ways that you can serve in this world and make a difference as a revolutionary than leaning in.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point you lean in far enough that your tits are just on the table. And now we've defeated the entire purpose. How
Of
about
tables? No, just kidding.
how about we just stand on our own 2 feet,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're in stilettos or combat boots or wearing those weird ass toe shoes,
It's okay.
and just say, I am perfect the way that I am. I bring brilliance. If you're not in, that's okay. So what? Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next?
Right.
We're next. We've got you.
It's
We
the
have a,
philosopher Ariana Grande who said, "Thank you next."
I'm going to punish you for that later.
I apologize sincerely. So tell me about like moving on to the future, looking to the future. What do you say right now is missing from the media narrative?
That is such a big question, and it hurts so many parts of my soul. We get so many fractions of stories from the media because they want their angle, right? Mm-hmm. It's either only a women's issue or it's a diversity issue. And they're still segmenting us out into these little pockets when it's not us and us and us and us and us. It's just us.
And it ignores all the intersectionality of us. You know, it's like if it's a disabled person issue, I'm a disabled person, or it's a woman's issue, or it's an LGBT issue. I'm all of those, bitch. Like, come on. It's a human issue. And if we're cutting out people based on identities, we're missing the fucking point. Pardon my French.
We've been missing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's always been my point is I've never had the patience to change the system from the inside. The world finally burnt everything to the fucking ground for me.
Mm-hmm.
If this isn't my time, then when? If this isn't my moment, then I've just got to take the now.
Yeah.
And I'll take it. I'll take it and I'll do some awesome ass shit with it and give you back like an origami poodle with babies. But it's got to change. It's going to change. And we're either going to lead the change or receive it. And I don't know about you guys, but I am tired of being on the receiving end of business.
You're a business top.
I am a business.
So you were talking about this awesome ass shit. I want you to quantify this awesome ass shit. Tell me, what are your goals? Tell me about by the end of the year, going on to next year, what are you making? What's it going to look like?
Okay, so here's what I was going to do. Okay, ready?
Ready.
So by October, we're going to have 300 revolutionaries. Okay. At that point, we will have stress tested every one of our tech stacks and systems, as well as the operationalization of our hiring, onboarding, and success metrics. And then we package it and we sell it to other industries so that they can be the revolution in their space.
So beyond marketing and sales.
Yeah, I don't want to be the revolution of everything. I'm tired already. And I really like sales and marketing. I don't want to have to learn accounting. You don't want to learn accounting.
Oh God, that sounds terrifying.
But what we will be able to give you is a platform to change the world that's aligned to your values and that has been tested with a team behind you that can not only help you build that PR blast that you need, but that understands the psychology of not only how people make decisions, but what makes them hold on to and invest in different propositions and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be the revolution, you're going to need to attract different people. because the same old shit's not going to work.
Mm-mm.
But my goodness, how much more beautiful is the world going to be when we can choose how we live, how we care for our families, and how we feel valued.
And when people can choose, they have options and they have power. And then we can create so much momentum. We can only create so much. And at some point, you change the expectations. You change because of what we're doing. Other employers, aren't going to want to, perhaps, but they're going to have to step up and offer those benefits. And they're going to have to give that flex time, and they're going to have to get used to an empowered workforce. No, a powerful workforce, you know?
It's that power put into the hands of the individual
Mm-hmm.
that will change the collective.
Yeah.
I will keep marching in my 3-inch heels and red lipstick until we see the first piece move. I'm ready. And I'm not going to stop.
I fucking love you.
Fucking love you too. Thanks for jumping on. Fiber
Yeah.
hoe.
You're a fiber hoe. No, you're not. So I want to, wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to say? You got anything else?
I want to say that I'm extraordinarily blessed. I do a lot of going out there and talking about the hard things in life. But when it comes down to it, every time I've put myself out there for what I know is right, the universe has come up to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
And it has brought me people that have been stronger than I am, smarter than I am, some that can drink more than I am. I can, but not many. And people that I just love being around. And the fact that we get to end most of our conversations with our clients and our team members with awesome, I love you. I'll talk to you at the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a world I want to invest in.
I've been really excited and amazed about the quality of people that are showing up to be revolutionaries. These are brainy, heart-led badasses, and by the people who are experts, they are big visioned people like, okay, this is what I've been wanting to do, and this is how you do it. I get it. I'm here. It's like and just what you said, the universe rises up. The people that are being attracted to this are just the people I would, choose to be in my life.
It's not a bad gig, is it?
It's all right. It'll do. It's good.
It'll do.
So, I want to say this community is on a journey and we absolutely want you to come along. If you haven't already, join our member portal. The link is in the description and in the show notes and literally everywhere. In the portal, you can interact with other revolutionaries. You can level up professional skills through our courses. You can attend our badass events for free. This in the portal is where we live out our big purpose. Speaking of, coming up on September 15th, one of our experts, Jeanette Jerzyk, will be doing creative communication workshop with improv. It's going to be a hilarious and fun event. It'll engage your creativity and you can learn how to react under pressure, stay on message, build confidence in any presentation or performance setting, learn tools for team building. It's going to be an interactive workshop. So bring your pen and paper. Do those still exist? And, command your audience, participate, and play along.
So I'm going to look really smart for a second.
Cool.
The reason you guys need to be at that event is we all have a different personal brand that we now have to represent. Whether it's explaining to your mother-in-law why you're not going back to work full time while her son works so hard, or you're telling everybody to fuck off because you're going to start your own business. You've got to put a personal brand around it. These sessions will put you in your shoes, speaking your truth, and doing it through a lens of love, humor, and beautiful vulnerability. And that's what connects with people.
Like the sincerity and the authenticity. It's going to be really fun. That's the first of our 3 events. You're doing the second event in September, and that's going to be the revolution of your personal brand.
Yeah. So when I started, I had a gigantic red perm.
I remember that perm.
It was a thing. My brand has evolved, and it has done so strategically and also not strategically, but has become a beautiful part of the tapestry of my business life and has attracted to me people that suck less. Let's all have more of that.
You know, my our tagline at one of my Burning Man camps was "More fun, less suck," which we
That doesn't sound very Burning Man to me.
And moving on. Next week on Clutching Our Pearls, we're going to have Robin Affey from Integral Growth on September 7th discussing the ultimate power of vulnerability, leadership, parenting, and being real. So it's going to be, we've got a lot of great stuff coming up. I'm going to let Marie drink some more wine. And this podcast and this revolution is part of her dream, and so are you. Go to our website, fwdrevolution.com, and from there, you can learn more about our goals and our team and follow us on social media. Thank you for listening.
Get your ass in the revolution.
Get in the portal, mortal.